Hi, I'm Sean Smith. This is Sean Smith Photos, where I edit street photography and occasional travel photos in On1 Photo Raw. So today I'm going to start a new series called Read the Manual, or RTFM, Read the Effin' Manual. So I suspect, like a lot of users, we just dive into the software and play around with the sliders and different things like that, and we get to a point where we're happy with what we can do, and that's great, but there's a lot of features that you don't know, or maybe something doesn't work how you expect it, or you just don't understand it. So this is where I'm going to dive into the manual and figure it out, because you can't just learn from other YouTubers or articles or whatever. Sometimes you need to read the manual. So today in Read the Manual, we're going to look at the Noise and Sharpening tab. Let's get to it. All right, so I will include a link to the manual in the description below, and I'm going to open it up here. So On1 provides their manual in PDF format, which is fine, I suppose. I would much prefer a web format where I could search Google and it would pull me to the manual, the correct pages, things like that. The fastest way to do it is just do a search. So Control F, assuming on the Mac it's Command F. So I'm going to Control Search, and I'm going to look for noise. And it takes me down here, and I can see noise and sharpening and all the stuff that I want to look at. So I'm going to hit Enter. And the text size is a little small, so to increase your font size, you Control plus, and we'll get this so it's somewhat readable. And we get some screenshots of this tab over here. So the first thing we've got is No Noise Sharpening Pane incorporates two adjustments that often compete with each other. And then we see there's four options. Classic, which is the traditional noise reduction and sharpening settings. No Noise AI, which I believe came out in the 2022 version, possibly 2021. I can't remember for sure. Which is AI-based learning to remove luminance and color noise from photos shot at higher ISOs. And Tack Sharp AI, which is used to deblur and sharpen soft photos. It can detect and remove motion blur and will even save out-of-focus shots. So bonus here is save out of focus shots, and we're going to really try this out because I've selected three photos. This first shot that you can see here was shot when my wife and I went away for the weekend from Toronto, and we drove into New York and went to Watkins Glen State Park. And there's this beautiful gorge with lots of waterfalls, and this is one of the shots that I took. And if we zoom in, we can see that it's quite noisy, and the people here are a little bit out of focus. And I'm hoping that we can remove some of the noise and fix the focus with Tack Sharp AI and No Noise AI, or the Classic. This next shot, as you can see, it's quite out of focus, and if we zoom in, it's very noisy in the background. So we'll see what we can do with that one. And there's this guy sitting on a bench with his dog. Both of them are slightly out of focus, not as badly shot as the last one. And there's no real noise to consider, but we'll see if we can fix that with Tack Sharp AI or using the Classic mode. If you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe. You can find me on Instagram, Vero, and my photo blog. Links in the description below. All right, so let's pop back into the manual. And we see here that it says the classic sliders, so this would be the classic tab here, are applied in real time on your image, while No Noise AI and Tack Sharp AI are applied at the base image level. So these two are applied to whatever's in your raw file. And we'll see the difference there is when we make adjustments on Classic with the slider, it just does stuff automatically. With No Noise AI and Tack Sharp AI, when you make the adjustments, you have to wait. There's a little blue progress bar that appears at the bottom, and when that progress bar is done, the effects have been applied. Now, so back to the manual. Because it is applied at the raw level, you must process the image and then apply it, which locks the settings into the base image, although you can adjust the settings at any point. So it's not really locked in. It also takes a bit longer to process a photo with No Noise or Tack Sharp than with the classic message, and that's because it's diving deep into the raw file rather than doing stuff on the surface. One thing that I learned by reading the manual is that most images you'll want to use the classic option first. Okay, I did not know that. I have not used sharpening or noise reduction in the classic tab because I didn't really understand what happened when I clicked through and tried moving the sliders around. So let's see if we can figure out something about that. Let's look at the next bit from the manual. So we're in Classic here, and we're looking at noise reduction, and we get some information here that noise reduction section reduces luminance and color noise while maintaining image detail. And then we can see luminance in the bullets, and it adjusts the strength of the noise reduction applied to the image's luminance. All right, so luminance is how bright the different portions of the image are. Color controls the amount of noise reduction applied just to color noise or chroma. So what I wish there was a better explanation of is what is the difference between luminance noise and color noise, because that's not explained. And I don't know which is which or how to determine what it is, what kind of noise I'm looking at in the photo. So one thing that we see here is that it says you can hold the Alt or Option key to see the luminance when you're adjusting the slider. It says the same thing for color. And then under the detail slider, which controls edge detail is protected, you get the same Alt or Option key to hold down. So let's experiment with this first photo in this gorge. And I'm going to hit the E key to hide the film strip, or not, so I'll just hit like that. And let's zoom in a little bit. So here we go. And if I move this luminance all the way to 100, not sure if anything happened. Yeah, it definitely smoothed things out, like his face got really smooth. That's way too much, obviously. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to hit the Alt key, and so we get a grayscale view of what's happening. Okay. So it's quite noisy here. And then if we move this over, the rocks are getting less noisy. It's cleaning that up a bit. And then let's see what happens when we hit the color slider. Oh, I'm not really... Okay, so I hit Alt, and then I get like this mask overlay. Yeah, so I don't really seeing any difference when I move the slider. So I'm gonna put that back where it was. Let's see what happens with detail. I'm not seeing it. See, I'm not really getting much. Oh, that's actually, I think around his face, this is a little bit better. It's still kind of noisy though. Let's hit the color detail. I don't know. Let's see, I'm not really seeing a lot of difference with this, and I mean, there is some, but I'm not finding the manual particularly helpful in this instance. It's not really telling me much or helping me. So the next thing that we can see in the bullets is that remove hot pixels, which doesn't apply to this image because it's for images that have blown out pixels, and it will remove them and help blend them into surrounding pixels. So this might be great if you're shooting at night and you've got some blown out lights from windows or cars, or maybe you're outdoors and you've got a blown out sky. In any case, it's not helping me here. So let's head back and we'll try it once again on this photo. We'll zoom in and let's hit the luminance and see if we can remove some of the, oh, this is making a difference. So if we look here, the glass is really noisy, right? And if I move up on the luminance, the glass is a lot less noisy. Let's pull up on the detail. Yeah, okay, and I'm gonna hit the Alt key. Yeah, I think like somewhere around there looks pretty good. Yeah, and then we'll hit the color. Okay, I'm not really sure if that's doing anything. Yeah, it's also not, if I move the slider around, it doesn't do much. No. Okay, so I'm getting some success on this image. And let's take a look at the next part of the user manual, which is the sharpening sliders on the classic tab. And it says here, the sharpening section of the details pane is designed to visually sharpen an image based on initial state from your camera, to bring back some sharpness that might have been lost. It has two basic controls, amount and threshold. Amount controls the strength of the sharpening, while threshold reduces sharpening in areas of low detail via a threshold mask. Hold down the Option and Alt keys to view that mask in grayscale. And then the next thing here says, the threshold slider, a setting of 0, means that sharpening amount gets applied to every pixel. As you increase the amount, it focuses sharpening only where there is a difference between neighboring pixels. So let's see what that means in practice. So maybe we can improve the sharpness here around the lines on the facade of the building and more. Okay, so let's move the amount up. All right, so sharpening, I can see a marked increase of this line. It seems to have added some contrast and sharpening to it. And I'm going to hold down the Alt key. Yeah, that's definitely done something. I'm going to try the threshold. So we don't want any changes in the glass, which should be nice and smooth. Maybe that will make a difference. Okay, so, oops. Yeah, as I move this out, we can see where it's applying it. So I think right about here is pretty good because we're getting some changes here. And we can see it's just moved it up to 1. All right, well, this is the classic tab. So I'm not really, I don't feel like it's really helped out that much. Well, let's take a look at what we can do with no noise. So I'm gonna reset. How do I reset that? I've reset everything, and it's time to check out no noise. And when we come to no noise, we see this little slider here that lets us move things around. And if we take a look at the documentation or the user manual, it says no noise reduction. This section adjusts the amount of luminance and brightness and color noise reduction on the current image. Enhanced details works to preserve details that would have been lost in traditional noise reduction process. Color is always set to 100, but the amount of luminance reduction is based on the image contents and your auto settings. So auto settings is something that you need to go in and apply before you're editing. You go into the settings of On1 and adjust it. The default seems to work for me, so I'm just going to look at that. Sharpening, this adjusts the amount of sharpening applied to the processed image. The sole slider, micro sharpening, enhances small details in your image. All right, so this is what it does, and our next slide tells us how to use this section. So it gives a little bit more detail than what you got on the classic pane. And we can see here we've got a good methodology, especially when you're getting to know the app and its settings, is to set the luminance, detail enhancement, and sharpening all to 0. Then start by adjusting the luminance up, and then says typically you would end somewhere in 80 to 100. Enhanced detail slider is next, and you'd typically end somewhere between 20 and 50, and then sharpening amount, same, 20 to 50. So let's try that out. So we're going to learn how it works. This is the default. And honestly, right out of the box, I love how this looks. It's made his cap crisp and clean. His face is smooth. There's no noise. The water still looks good. It just does a great job right out of the box. So let's try this. Drop everything down to 0. And so this is the base image. And I'm going to pull up the luminance slider. And you can see the blue slider or progress bar appeared here when I let go. And it is better. Let's try again. We'll bring it up to, say, 60. Let go. Blue progress bar. And yeah, it's getting even better. And let's just jump all the way to 100, which is where it was at by default. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And let's check out enhanced details. So I'm going to zoom in or focus in here so I can see him and this water. I'm going to put the enhanced details at 20, the starting recommendation spot. And that looks all right. Let's up it to, say, 50. Okay, so the water along the edge here is getting a little crunchy. Probably don't want to go much higher than that. Maybe even drop it down a bit. So I'm going to pull it back to 40. Okay, that got a little smoother. Let's pull it back to 30. Yeah, so this right here, the loose drops are a little bit smoother. And where's the handle for this thing? There we go. Yeah, that did a great job. And then we can try pulling the micro sharpening down all the way up. Yeah, where was the micro sharpening? It was at 100. I'm gonna drop it down to like 50-ish. Ah, okay, so now I can understand how to use the No Noise AI. The user manual was much more helpful, gave me a recommended starting point of move all the sliders to 0, and then best results typically are 80 to 100 for luminance, and then 20 to 50 for detail and sharpening amount. So yeah, that worked out pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Let's see how that works on this photo. And we can see, we got the pop-up this time. I'm not sure why. Oh, or we're back at no noise. Okay, or classic. Let's down here. Wow. Just the difference was phenomenal. Okay, so let's go back to classic. Look at this guy. He's all noisy. The window panes are all noisy. And then I hit No Noise AI. Wait. And he's smooth. The windows look great. Wow. Yeah, that is just phenomenal. Okay. So that was 150 and 100. So let's pull all 3 of these sliders back and we'll play with it ourselves. We're at 90. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with 100. We'll just try the enhanced detail at around 20. Micro sharpening around, what is it? It was around 20 is what was recommended as 20, right? Yeah, so we'll put it at 20, 20-ish. Okay, so look at this. This is so much better than the classic pane right there. And I'm going to enhance the detail back to like 40. Yeah, that's as good. We'll up this to like 50-ish. Yeah, this is so much better. All right, so yeah, now I understand how that works. The user manual has really helped out a lot. I understand how no noise works. It's made big improvements to my shots. Let's check out what we can learn about Tack Sharp AI, where we want to make things sharper, fix our focus. And what does the manual say? Tack Sharp AI tab is much simpler than the No Noise AI tab, consisting of 2 sliders. The Tack Sharp AI deblur is designed to enhance focus and reduce motion blur. So we got motion blur on this guy because he ran across my scene. And then on this photo, we got a soft focus because I didn't nail the focus properly. So hopefully, Tack Sharp AI is going to help out. The micro sharpening slider is identical to the one found in the No Noise AI pane. And the top button reset the, okay, yeah, all right, so let's go back here. And then we're going to go to Tack Sharp AI. And it's doing its stuff. And it really made it super, super noisy. Okay, so things are super noisy here. Micro sharpening, reduce the micro sharpening. Oh, reducing the micro sharpening fixes the noise, or a little bit. Yeah, micro sharpening. Okay, so let's, all right, by itself, it's not really fixing this image. Maybe this is not the right kind of image to fix it. but let's reset and we'll try something else. We'll try both. So both gives us no noise AI and Tack Sharp AI. So hopefully it will sharpen it, but we can get everything nice and smooth. And it's doing its job. We can see that down here. And yeah, that is using both in this case. Wow, yeah, okay. This is looking great. And while this guy's not in full focus, I feel like the motion blur has been reduced and everything in the background is super smooth, but we've got some kind of like crispiness around here. Let's reduce the micro sharpening. Cut it in half. Not really seeing a difference. All right, so maybe this image is not the best one to use. I know I'm running long. All right, so let's hop over to this last image, which doesn't need any noise reduction, but as I mentioned earlier, it's got this soft focus. So we're going to try out Tack Sharp AI. We'll hit that, wait for it to do its thing, and when it does, we're going to move down here and we're going to take a look at the dog. Out of focus. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's a lot more in focus. And I think I'm going to reduce the micro sharpening a bit, all the way down. And then let's try holding the Alt key. Okay, so I think it's improved the focus a little bit, but it has added a lot of noise. And this is, yeah. Okay, so I don't know. This is the Tack Sharp AI. I think it's improved the shot, but it hasn't rescued the focus as much as I would have hoped. For me, the clear winner is No Noise AI, and despite it being flagged as something that you would use with images shot at high ISO, I have used it on images that are not super high ISO, and it sharpens it nicely, and it does a great job at removing the noise. All right, so in conclusion, I think that the manual helped, especially with No Noise AI and Tack Sharp AI, so that we understand what it does. The manual, on the other hand, for the classic sharpening and noise reduction is a little bit unclear. I'm still moving sliders around, and I'm not sure what's going on. So, yeah. Also, I feel that No Noise AI is excellent. It does a great job. It sharpens, it removes noise. It's easy to understand how to do it. Tack Sharp AI, yeah, it sharpens. It doesn't seem to fix focus as much as I would like. But, you know, ideally I would not have this problem and I'd hit the focus in camera. Maybe it will improve in the future, but for right now, I think most of my photos, if I do any noise reduction or sharpening, I'm just going to use No Noise AI. I'm really happy with the results there. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.